The Giant of Seville, a tall tale based on a true story. Life was too quiet in the little town of Seville, Ohio. Some would say so quiet that if you listened carefully, you could hear the corn grow. Nothing exciting ever happened. But one day a stranger came to town on the noon train. He was so tall that the only way he could ride the passenger car was to sit sideways on the seat with his head and shoulders sticking out of the window. The stranger was a giant. As the train slowly came to a stop at the station platform, the giant couldn't stand another minute in the cramped car, so he decided to climb out. With his hand on his back, he groaned, straightening to his full height. He was dressed in a fine coat and vest, and perched atop his huge head he wore a stovepipe hat the size of a pickle barrel. At the end of a long gold chain he wore a pocket watch as big as a saucer. In his lapel was a bright yellow sunflower. It took an hour for two porters to wrestle the giant's massive steamer trunk from the train. Stenciled on the side of the trunk in gold letters were the words, "Captain Martin Van Buren Bates, 8th Wonder of the World." As Captain Bates strode down Main Street with his trunk under his arm, word of his arrival traveled fast. Soon a crowd of people gathered to follow the giant through town. Captain Bates went straight to old Ms. Crawley's boarding house. The sign that hung beside the front door read, "All peaceable folk welcome." So the captain rang the bell. Old Ms. Crawley answered the door. Without even a whisper about the captain's amazing size, she calmly said, "What brings you to town?" The stranger kindly replied, I've traveled the world over in the circus with my wife, who is every inch my height. Together we've entertained royalty and common folk alike. Now we're tired of show business and just want to live a quiet life like everyone else. So I left my dear wife back east, boarded a train to search out for the perfect place for our home. But it seems I'm just too big for every town I visit. Now this was the most exciting thing to ever happen in the sleepy town of Seville. All the townsfolk decided right then and there to make the giant feel right at home. Old Mrs. Crawley was a gracious hostess. She showed him to her finest room, the one with the king-size bed. The bed may have suited a king, but later that night Captain Bates was uncomfortable. Quietly, he opened a window of his room and stretched his legs out to full length. Old Miss Crawley, being very sensitive to drafts, soon discovered the captain's sleeping arrangements. "He'll catch his death of cold," she said. So she bundled up her warmest robe, and with the help of several neighbors, she built a roaring bonfire just outside the window. The next morning, Captain Bates awoke rested and refreshed, but poor old Miss Crawley was exhausted from tending the fire all night long. Although she was very tired, Miss Crawley immediately set to work preparing breakfast for her special guest. But her griddle couldn't keep up with the captain's appetite for johnny cakes. So several of the town's ladies showed up to help old Miss Crawley. Together they mixed 4 gallons of cake batter and had 5 frying pans going at once. After he had his fill, the captain leaned back in his chair with his hands on his belly and sighed, "Thank you kindly, ladies. That was the finest meal I've had in quite a spell." While sitting with the captain, Miss Crawley hit upon an idea. "We'll have a square dance tonight in the parlor," she beamed. "This way you can meet all the townsfolk, and then I'm sure you'll decide that Seville is the perfect place for you and your wife." That night, everyone in town turned out for the big dance. The furniture was pushed off to one side and the carpet was rolled up. The sheriff of Seville sat at the piano, and the barber played the fiddle. As the music and dancing increased to a fever pitch, All the guests cleared the floor and formed a large circle. In the center, Captain Bates danced a jig with such vigor that everything began to shake. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. When the dust cleared, everyone noticed a large hole in the floor. The crowd peered down and saw Captain Bates had fallen through. He sat in the cellar, surrounded by splintered wood. The men fetched a ladder to help the captain up. Luckily, the only thing injured was his pride. Captain Bates turned to old Miss Crawley and said, "I'm mighty embarrassed and sorry for all the damage I've done, especially after you've been so nice to me. Please add the cost of repairs to my bill. Perhaps it's best I catch the train in the morning. I guess I'm too big for Seville after all." Bright and early the next morning, the men and women of Seville arrived. They were carrying hammers and saws and kegs of nails. The captain thought they had come to repair the damage to Miss Crawley's floor, but he was wrong. A bugle began to play, and everyone marched together toward the edge of town. Old Miss Crawley took the captain's hand, and they followed. The women set up a big kettle and began preparing food as the men started to work laying foundation stones. The captain thought he was joining a barn raising party, but he wasn't. The men were building a house, a giant-sized house. The captain was touched by the kindness of the people of Seville, and it was then that he realized he could not live in any other town. Captain Bates sent a telegram to his wife to let her know he had found a town where the people were small but their hearts were giant. A few days later, Anna Bates arrived. The whole town of Seville turned out to witness as Captain Bates carried his wife over the threshold of their new home, and the sizes were just right. Evidently, this is the one the story is about. Dang, they are really big. Martin Van Buren Bates was born a baby of normal size on November 9, 1845, but he continued to grow till he was 28 years old, reaching a height of 7 feet 11.5 inches and weighed 525 pounds. That's a big guy. In 1861, at the start of the Civil War, Martin enlisted as a private in the 5th Kentucky Infantry. He was promoted several times over the next few years, eventually achieving the rank of captain. After the war, he joined the circus and was billed as the world's tallest man. While touring with the circus in Halifax, Canada, he met Anna Swan. Anna Swan stood almost 8 feet tall. She decided to join the circus with Martin, and together they toured through Europe. In 1871, they were married in London, and Queen Victoria presented the newlyweds with a matching set of oversized diamond-studded gold watches. Martin and Anna became history's tallest known married couple. After touring with the circus for many years, the couple settled down in Seville, Ohio, and built a house on 130 acres of farmland. The house was complete with 14-foot-high ceilings and 8-foot-high doors, and the furniture was built to order. Martin and Anna later returned to circus life, but they would forever be Seville's most famous residents.